Welcome to today's Destination Unknown. I'm your host, Alyssa Hall. Today is a little different than I originally had planned for our programming, but as they say in theater, you have to use your obstacle. That means whatever is going wrong and happening around you, make it part of your story, make it part of your plan, because you may not be able to move the obstacle, therefore you have to use your obstacle. So here we are today, using our obstacle. I have in the background something you might be able to hear. And that's part of the reason why I usually try to find the perfect time to try to get myself ready, all my notes ready, all my lecture, all of that ready for recording. But today we're going to do something different, and I'm using my obstacle that I keep pointing to, which is my noise in the background. And we're going to talk about active listening. Active listening is a type of meditation, and maybe what we all need, myself included, is more time to spend in quiet reflection, such as meditation. If this is the case, this is a great technique that I picked up years ago when I was studying meditation forms. For me, this has been one of the most effective forms. I've tried different forms of meditation, especially more Zazen, where you just simply sit and try to empty yourself, rid yourself of the many thoughts, focus perhaps maybe on a koan instead. But for me, that Zazen meditation can be very challenging. The idea of emptying myself out, ridding myself of all thoughts, just like so many of us experience in meditation and always have. As soon as I tell myself I've emptied my mind, 500 things start popping up of what I need to do and what I need to pick up and what we need to do before we leave for this week's vacation, and all those chatter things that are the opposite of what we're trying to achieve during a meditation. So today, let me talk you through a meditation that I sometimes use. I find it helpful to use in any circumstances for as long or as short as you are able to meditate, whether that be just 30 seconds at a red light or 30 minutes sitting at home in a more formal setting. Here's what we're going to talk through today, and feel free to go along with me as I give you these suggestions so that you can experience the meditation even in a short form here for our demonstration today. I also will probably be closing my eyes often, as I do during meditation. Feel free, if you're moved, to close your eyes during this video and listen to me instead. So let's begin by getting comfortable wherever you are. Find a seated position, sitting, laying down, maybe standing like myself. Wherever you are in this life, find a moment to plant yourself there with intention first. Here I will sit, and here I will give myself some time. Once you've established that this is what this time is for and this space is for, begin by listening. So the purpose of today, before we get into it, is simply to use our skill of listening as a way of opening up a meditative space inside. This for me is helpful because it gives me a focus without me having a focus that can necessarily pull me from the act of meditating. So I'll explain what I mean. As we go through this today, all I will be instructing you to do is to simply listen and pay attention. We'll talk about the spheres of listening around you. And in that act, it becomes a meditation in and of itself. So that's what you can expect going forward. Let's go ahead and get started. So like we said, we've declared this time and space to be a moment for meditation. Intention is important. Set your intention first. Whether you keep your eyes open or closed, begin to tune in just to your natural breathing rhythms. My meditation practices have taught me to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. I find this comfortable and calming. However, I encourage you to use any breath pattern that you find comforting and calming. You're not looking to control your breath during any part of this meditation. Your job is to simply observe what is happening. With every breath you take, as you listen to this meditation, begin to tune out the sounds of anything that doesn't come from inside your body, except for the sound of my voice. What do you hear when you listen only to yourself first? I hear the breathing pattern when I listen. I hear the nose rushing in through my nostrils. I hear a little bit of my jewelry clinkling when I move my chest, just ever so slightly. That's a sound on the outside of my body. I incorporate both sounds inside and outside my body on top of my body, such as this, in my next breath, as I continue to listen. Keep listening. Once I feel I've tuned in with the sounds that are coming from within me and from right outside me being right on top of me, such as my clothing moving against my skin, or perhaps my jewelry moving like we discussed, then on your next few breaths, open your sphere of awareness to include just the circle around your body. Don't make that circle any larger than, say, 6 inches off your actual skin. Imagine that being a bubble. What, if any, sounds can emerge from just outside your skin? Take a breath to notice. You may have had additional sounds to gather into your awareness, or you may simply have only the sounds that are still coming from within your body as you breathe. On the next few breaths, expand your awareness to include anything that you might hear inside the room where you are now sitting. These are any sounds that have made it into your room as you sit. Eyes open or closed, let's take another breath or two and observe. As I sit and I actively listen to the sounds inside my body, on the outside of my body, 6 inches away from my body, and now also inside the room. As we continue to build this meditation, how many sounds can you simultaneously register without losing focus on any of them individually? How many things can you hear when you're trying to hear everything? Again, focus just on the sounds here in your room. For myself, this is where I get to use the sound of the washer, the dryer specifically, that's going in the background and has become part of our meditation today. You might be hearing that as part of the sounds in your room, along with my voice guiding us through this moment. Let's take another few breaths to listen to the sounds just within the room. As we begin to expand our awareness beyond just the room itself, I leave it up to you to decide how wide you would like to include your circle or sphere of awareness as you listen. You might now choose to listen to anything that resides within the home or within the building that you now are in. You might hear included the rattling of things that are outside the window, such as traffic. You might also hear other people inside your building or in an adjacent room talking. Allow those sounds that are part of the building to now also become part of our awareness. Let's take a breath or two and include that as well, if you like. For myself, I hear my breath, I hear the room noise of the dryer, and inside the building of our home, I can hear my son as he clicks the buttons on the controller of his Xbox. I can listen to all these sounds simultaneously and lose track of none of them. Take another few breaths to do the same inventory in your space and begin to notice as you breathe, does it change how you begin to feel in a meditative way? You might notice different things as you continue to meditate, things that were also part of your awareness, but you hadn't noticed them before. I had that experience now. We began this meditation by me asking for us to listen, you and I to listen, to the sounds that came from our body. And I forgot to include the sound that happens inside my body and my awareness, which is my tinnitus. So I actually am listening to sound that others do not hear. Because I habitually tune it out, taking time to listen to the sound in my head, even the ringing in my ears, can be a meditative process. As we open our awareness to the final point, now I ask you or invite you, if you are interested, to open your awareness to everything around you. This might be the sounds of traffic happening on the street. It might be a street that's quite a ways away where you hear a siren, or it might be the sound of the rustling of your clothing as your breath moves in and out of your body. Listen to everything around you, starting from the inside, moving to the outside. Include all sounds and see how long you can hold this awareness. Let's take several breaths and a few minutes to stay in this open meditative state together. As you begin to listen to all the sounds around you, including my voice, notice if your mind begins to slip. Does it try to begin to think things? Does it fill the empty space you're creating with new thoughts, new lists of things to do? If so, try to replace those thoughts with the act of listening. This is called active listening meditation. Feel free to stay in this state of meditative awareness for as long as you like. You can pause this if you'd like to spend a longer time and have reached a deeper state of meditation. However, if you're ready to return back to our normal awareness, let's follow the meditation back out. We'll begin by closing down our awareness one step at a time, the same way we opened our awareness. So where we are now listening to all sounds around us, far and near, begin to close that down to just the sounds that you hear within the building where you now are. Let's take a breath and close our awareness to just that. And on your next few breaths, begin to close your sphere again of active listening. Close it down this time to just the room that you're in, and begin to shrink that bubble of your active listening and participation. You can continue by closing the meditation by bringing it next to the sounds that are happening right next to you, say 6 inches away from your actual skin. What do you hear just outside your body as well as inside? Finally, let's bring our awareness back to just the sounds that we hear either with our body or the breath that we make inside our body. Active listening is a great exercise for myself. I hope you enjoyed this moment today. I close our meditation by asking you to listen to the sound of my voice, and if you're ready, if you've closed your eyes, feel free to open them and begin to accept more input from the outside world as you return back to us from your meditative state inside. I hope you enjoyed that. It was an impromptu moment that I wanted to share. It's been on my to-do list ever since we've been talking about pranayama and some of the other breathing techniques we covered earlier in the year. However, I thought maybe today, since I couldn't wait for that sound to stop before actually recording and uploading, to simply use my obstacle. Let's use the sounds around me and turn today into an active listening meditation for us all. I don't know about you, but even just that few moments felt pretty good. I hope this gives you a new technique. For me, it's one of the best I've learned. It helps me a lot as far as circumventing trying to think versus not trying to think in a meditation. It gives me space where I feel like I'm both not thinking and focusing effectively, all at the same time. Thank you for joining me, and as always, let's keep listening.